join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? It's my honor to welcome you all to the 2019 DARE graduation ceremony. I'd like to start off by thanking Under Sheriff Tom Fisher with the Stafford County Sheriff's Department for leading our DARE program this year. Also, thank you to Police Chief, St. John Police Chief Alan Adams for participating in the program as well this year. I want to express thanks to Mrs. Long for coordinating this program in her class, and commend Mrs. Long and Mrs. Webb for starting this program, putting this commencement program together. There is an important program here for our students. We live in a world where the opportunity for bad choices is readily available. The DARE program is an important part to help these young people be the best they can be. The DARE mission is teaching students good decision-making skills to help them lead safe and healthy lives. And the DARE vision is a world in which students everywhere are empowered to respect others and choose to lead lives free from violence, substance abuse, and other dangerous behaviors. With that, I will turn the program over to Under Sheriff Fisher.
Good afternoon. Most of you know me. I've been a fixture here for about 9 years. Just a little background about me. I began my career in 2000 with the Barton County Sheriff's Office. In 2007, I went to the state of Iowa to receive my DARE training. Currently in my, I would say, extracurricular activities outside of my law enforcement full-time job, I sit as the president for the Kansas Juvenile Officers Association. With me, I am fortunate to have my training coordinator, my friend, my chief of police from Cheney Police Department, Ken Winter. Myself, I would greatly like to express my thanks to the school. This is fun. This breaks up my day. It's awesome for me to come in, even if it's just for an hour. It's a blast. We have a lot of fun. So a little background about DARE. DARE was formed in 1983 in Los Angeles, California. It was developed by the police chief at that time for that department. Wanted a program to put into the school to keep his students from being resisting drugs and alcohol. DARE is now taught worldwide. 7, 8, 9 different languages, something like that now. And it's growing. We went through kind of a spot where DARE had maybe been taken out of schools due to budget cuts and officers not being able to do that, but DARE is blossoming and we're seeing more and more DARE officers get with the program, and it's an excellent deal. So over the last 9, 10 weeks, something like that, roughly, due to my crazy schedule, it kind of varies. I've been coming to the classroom once a week. We talk about all sorts of different things. We talk about making good decisions, resisting peer pressure. We talk about drugs. We talk about alcohol. We talk about bullying. What else we talk about, kids? I'm going to put you on the spot. You know this. You watched this last year. Signs of stress. What else? Peer pressure. Tobacco. Bullying. Alcohol. Smoking. Communication. So we just don't teach just drugs and alcohol. We talk about basics of communication, about making good choices. We talk about effective listening. So you might have seen someone come home and kind of really pay attention to conversations. We talk about body language. We talk about paying attention when other people are talking. So I'm going to turn the program over to Chief Ken Winter. He's the chief of the Cheney Police Department. He is the training coordinator for the Kansas Juvenile Officers Association. And you add another title to him. He now sits on the DARE America Law Enforcement Advisory Board for the state of Kansas. So we're happy to have Chief Winter here, and I'll turn it over to him.
Well, thank you for having me, Tom. I appreciate it. Tom and I have known each other for quite a while now. We've had a lot of fun together over the last few years. Some stories we can't tell. But Tom is the epitome of a great DARE officer. He with our association, we have a lot of people that are involved in that. And you guys, you kids, there's 25 of you, right? You guys are so lucky to have this guy as your dare teacher because he does a great job. He takes a huge responsibility of knowing the program and sharing his knowledge and his expertise in this area. So again, thank you for inviting me today, Tom, to come out and share some thoughts with your class. I have a guest with me today too, my lieutenant, Jeremy Watts. He rode out with me today to keep me company. And we team teach together the DARE program. As a police chief and even Tommy as an undersheriff, our responsibilities are pretty heavy every day. So we decided to do a team teaching thing, and I think Chief Adams, you guys did the same thing this year, didn't you, a little bit? Towards the tail end, a little bit? Tried to? Yeah. So it's important to have extra help once in a while to make sure this program gets provided. But Lieutenant Watts has been a DARE instructor for about 5 or 6 years now. And Tommy, how long have you done it?
2007.
2007. I won't say how long I have.
We won't get into that because I know.
It's been a long time. And I wanted to share something kind of funny. As we walked into your old gym a while ago, I told Tommy, I said, I think I remember playing basketball here back in high school. I grew up in Medicine Lodge, so I think we came here a couple times when I was in high school and played basketball here. So that brought back some interesting memories. That was an interesting gym to play basketball in, to say the least. So anyway, what I came here to talk to you guys about today is I want to share some stories because I love this program, the DARE program. I know Tommy does, I know Alan does, I know Jeremy does. We love this program, and that's why it's important for us to make sure you guys get a good message about the importance of making good decisions. And you guys hit the nail on the head on a lot of things. One thing I thought that was, who said communication? You know, I think that is a really important topic in today's society. I grew up 100 years ago in a home where we ate dinner together. That was funny, you heard that, didn't you, 100 years ago? You caught that. But it was important for us to sit down as a family and eat dinner together and all kinds of things like that. And I think we've kind of lost that in today's society. Everybody has one of these, right? We have a cell phone, we text back and forth, we Facebook. We rarely have face-to-face conversations. Would you guys agree with that? And I think that's something important. I'm sure Tommy probably talked to you guys about that, how important it is to have good communication and sharing things back and forth as friends and as family and staying supportive to each other. We'll share just a few stories. As you know, I'm the police chief in Cheney, and a few years ago I was at the crosswalk, something I do every morning. I go to the crosswalks, I greet the kids, greet the parents. It's a fun thing I enjoy to do. And a young lady pulls up the crosswalk, and she rolls her window down in her car and says, "Hey, Mr. Winter." Hey. I had no idea who she was. Former DARE student. And she started talking to me. She has a couple kids now, and she was sharing that with me. And I kind of remembered when she first moved to Cheney, I kind of remembered her name, but she'd gotten a little bit of trouble. A few weeks pass, and her mom comes to the crosswalk to pick the grandkids up. And her mom says, "Hey, can I talk to you a minute?" Her mom and I have known each other for a long time. She says, "Hey, I want to tell you something. Aubrey, when she saw you at the crosswalk that day, she felt so bad because she'd been driving with a suspended license. And she realized it was you. She didn't want to disappoint you. And so she went and called me, and she said, I got to get this taken care of. Mr. Winter is the police chief here in this town where I'm living." I'm like, you know, and when she first told me, I kind of laughed about it, and I thought, wow, maybe I impacted her by sharing something with her at some point in time. But it bothered her so much because she didn't want to disappoint me. I was her DARE officer in 5th and in 8th grade. So that's one story about how important this program is and why I think it's so important to share these stories. Another story. There's a young man that's from Douglas, Kansas. He's getting ready to go to college in pole vault. You guys remember your DARE decision-making model, or we call it the flip chart, the front flap. Is that what you guys call it, front flap? The DDMM. He took that back in 5th grade. Now, granted, I teach DARE a long time, and now he's a senior getting ready to go to college. And his mom shared with me just a couple weeks ago when I was at their school doing their senior exit interviews, that he had taken that flip chart and laminated it, and it's been stuck on his wall by his light switch for that long. 5th grade to being a senior. And she said that she feels like that helped him make good decisions all that time through middle school and high school. You see where I'm going with some of this? How important some of the things that officers share with you guys. Just neat stories like that. And then I was working security off duty the other night. 2 girls come up and sit down. One was a senior this year at Cheney, and another girl's going to be a senior next year. I've had them both in DARE class since I've been there. And they came down and they just sit down and they start talking to me about the DARE program. Again, thinking about things that's impacted them in their life. Just me sharing stories with them, and they brought up things that we talked about in class. Just unique things. And then a few weeks ago, I was at church in Wichita, Kansas, and a guy, I recognize this guy, he's a coach from the county he's working. He comes up to me and says, "Hey, Chief Winter, I want to introduce you to somebody. I want to see if he remembers you." He brings his son up to me. This kid's like this tall now, he's huge. He's going to college to play basketball in Oklahoma. And he looks at me and he says, "You remember this guy?" And he said, "You were my hair teacher in elementary school." Again, a unique story about the DARE program. I wasn't just a cop in his town, I was his DARE officer. This program means so much to kids and to officers. And then last week, I was doing senior exit interviews, and a kid comes up to me. He was one of my kids that I was doing a mock interview with, and he said, "Hey, Chief Winter, I don't know if you remember me, but you were my DARE teacher in 5th grade. I'm going to college to pursue rodeo at Kansas State University. I just want to share with you that you made a difference in my life. You impacted me so much by the things you taught me in class. It's carried on all the way through now, and I'm graduating from high school, getting ready to go to college to start my future. Pursue a degree in agribusiness." Again, a unique story about the DARE program. And I guarantee you, under Sheriff Fisher, Lieutenant Watts, Chief Adams, we all have similar stories that we can share with you. Multiple stories where we meet people later, even parents who hear about the program and say, "You know, I heard something that my kid came home and talked about, and it changed me. I quit smoking, I quit dipping," whatever, because you guys go home and sometimes you talk about those things with your parents and how important it is because you want your family to be safe and healthy. I think there's a common theme here as I'm talking about to wrap up so you don't go to sleep. Common theme here is how important the DARE program is, how important you guys are, and how important we feel like as officers that your future is. And we want to bring this information to you. We want you to know that. And last but not least, I had another kid in my exit interviews last week. He flipped this slide up, and I was like, "Wow." I said, stop just a second. I took my phone out and I snapped a picture of the slide. And here's what the slide said. "Let your story and legacy mean enough to you so that the little things don't matter." He also said, "Live your life every day like you're playing a championship game." Live your life every day like you're playing a championship game. Those were quotes from somebody. I don't remember who they were. Somebody famous. But that was something that impacted him. And it was just neat for me to hear him say these things and put that in a slide presentation that I was privy to see. And I think that says a lot about, the DARE program in a lot of ways. Play your life like it's a championship. Do the right things. Make the right choices. Stay healthy. Communicate with your family, your friends. Take care of each other. You guys are a team right here. Take care of each other. Like you're playing for a championship every day. So please, do this for me. Build positive relationships with each other every day. Build them with your family. your teachers in the future, your coaches. Take care of yourself and especially your family. Remember, someone, Under Sheriff Fisher here, taught you about the DARE decision-making model. Use that every day to the best of your abilities, and I strongly believe you'll have much success in your future. Thank you, and congratulations on this accomplishment. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Ken, on behalf of myself, just present you with a little thing here. I am excited to see where you're going to bring Derek back to the state of Kansas. Sitting on this law enforcement advisory board is going to be a wonderful thing for Kansas. I'm really excited, and as president, it makes me just feel awesome. I'm happy, and thank you very much for coming out today. Appreciate it. Okay. So, we're going to do our essays right quick, and I was informed by Ms. Long that she's got a particular order she wants to do these in. So I'm going to let Raphael come up, and he's going to read your essay, or his essay, excuse me, one of them.
My name is Rafael Gonzalez, and this year I had the opportunity to attend DARE class. I've learned many things in DARE. I've learned about bullying, alcohol, and stress. I'm glad I was able to learn in DARE. This year I've learned about bullying. There are 5 W's of reporting bullying: who, what, when, where, and why. There are many different types of bullying, such as physical bullying, cyberbullying, and social bullying. Cyberbullying is where people look up embarrassing stuff about other people and put it on the internet. Physical bullying is where people punch or kick other people, and social bullying is where people gossip, spread rumors about other people. Bullying can harm people and make people not want to go to school anymore. That's why people have to report bullying when they see it. I learned so much about bullying in DARE. Another thing I learned in DARE was about alcohol. Alcohol is illegal for anyone under the age of 21. Mixing alcohol with medicine is dangerous. There are 75 alcohol-related deaths each year in the U.S. Alcohol slows down the brain and body. Other effects may include loss of coordination, poor judgment, memory loss, loss of self-control, or slow reflexes. Alcohol weakens the heart muscle and reduces the amount of blood pumped to and from the heart. Too much alcohol can lead to a coma and death. I know many facts about alcohol thanks to my time in DARE class. The third thing I learned in DARE is the signs of stress. Stress is any strain, pressure, or excitement felt about a situation or event. When stress occurs, your body can do strange things, like your heart starts pounding, your cheeks turn red. You may also start to act different when you have stress. You may feel angry and want to punch something. You may close your fists or feel like breaking something. I know stress is a bad feeling, but there are some ways to get rid of stress, like counting to 10, listening to music, or playing games. I learned so much about stress in DARE class. I've learned a lot in DARE, and I plan to use what I've learned to help me out in the future. I will stop bullying when I see it. I will not drink alcohol, and I will be aware of stress in my life. I'm glad I got learned in DARE.
Good job. Grace?
I am Gracie Long, and this year I got the opportunity to attend DARE. I learned a lot in DARE that will help me in future decisions. DARE was really fun, and I learned a lot about things that can affect your health and attitude. 3 things I learned about in DARE are alcohol, tobacco, and signs of stress. In DARE, I learned about alcohol. Alcohol is illegal for anyone under the age of 21. There are 75,000 alcohol-related deaths each year. Alcohol goes directly into the bloodstream and can damage every organ in your body. Alcohol weakens the heart muscle and reduces the amount of blood pumped to and from the body. Some alcohol effects are loss of coordination, poor judgment, memory loss, loss of self-control, and slow reflexes. Too much alcohol can slow down the body and can lead to a coma and death. Mixing alcohol with medicine is dangerous. Alcohol affects teens more seriously because they are still growing. What I have learned in DARE will help me in future decisions. In DARE, I also learned about tobacco. In the U.S., it is illegal to sell tobacco to anyone under the age of 18, in some states 19. There are more than 200 known harmful chemicals in cigarette smoke. More than 400,000 Americans die from tobacco-related causes each year. Almost 50,000 deaths per year can be attributed to secondhand smoke. Some health effects of smoking are heart disease, more colds and upper respiratory problems, lung cancer, tooth loss, and other health problems. Nicotine in cigarettes and chewing tobacco reduces the amount of blood that flows to the brain. Smoking can yellow your teeth, cause bad breath, cause wrinkles. I learned a lot about tobacco and its effects in DARE. Another thing I learned in DARE was about signs of stress. Your body can feel hot and sweaty when you are stressed. Actions you may show when you are stressed are you clench your fists, cry, and scream. To relieve stress, you should do things you like. Some examples are read a book, ride a bike, play sports, or take a nap. I learned a lot about signs of stress that can help me in the future. I learned a lot in DARE. What I have learned in DARE will help me in the future. I will not drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes. I will recognize stress in my life and I will know how to relieve it. I will be confident in making decisions. What I learned in DARE will help me stay healthy for the rest of my life.
Wes?
I'm Weston Peterson. This year I was able to do DARE. I learned a lot in DARE, mainly about tobacco, alcohol, and peer pressure. I'll use what I've learned in DARE for choices I have to make in the future. In DARE, I learned a lot about tobacco. Smoking is the leading preventable cause of death in this country. More than 400,000 Americans die from tobacco-related causes each year. Also, almost 50,000 deaths per year can be attributed to secondhand smoke. Tobacco can also cause lung and mouth cancer. I'll use this information I've learned in DARE for the future. I also learned about alcohol. Alcohol is illegal for anyone under the age of 21. There are 75,000 alcohol-related deaths each year. Too much alcohol weakens the heart muscle and reduces the amount of blood pumped to and from the heart. Alcohol also slows down the brain and body, which can make you do things you wouldn't normally do. I learned a lot about alcohol in DARE. I also learned about peer pressure in DARE. Peer pressure is when someone wants you to do something that maybe isn't right. Maybe someone asks you to have an alcoholic drink and says you would be cool. Maybe someone tells you if you steal something, you could hang out with them and be popular. If someone does ask you, though, make an excuse and walk away. I'll use what I've learned in DARE for the future. I learned a lot in DARE. DARE has taught me how to be a better person. I'll use what I've learned in DARE for the future. I'll not do drugs because they can affect my body, and I'll also stand up for others. I'm glad I got to participate in DARE.
And last but not least, Megan.
My name is Malin Sanders. This year in DARE, I had the opportunity to learn about many things. 3 things I had the opportunity to learn about were tobacco, alcohol, and peer pressure, to name a few. The things I have learned in DARE will help me make good decisions in the future. I am thankful I had this opportunity. One of the things I learned about in DARE is the effects of tobacco and the problems it can cause. Smoking causes upper respiratory problems and lung cancer. There are more than 200 known harmful chemicals in cigarette smoke. Cigarettes contain nicotine, which is a very powerful substance that causes addiction. Smoking under the age of 18 can also stunt growth. There are 4,000 known chemicals in cigarettes like formaldehyde and ammonia. About 34.3 million adults in the U.S. are smokers. I learned a lot about tobacco and cigarettes and the problems they cause, and I will use what I have learned to make good choices in the future. Another topic I learned about in DARE is alcohol and what it does to your body. Mixing alcohol and medicine can be extremely dangerous. There are 75,000 alcohol-related deaths each year. Alcohol can cause cancer of the stomach and liver. It is illegal to drink alcohol if you are under the age of 21. Too much alcohol can lead to high blood pressure and sudden heart failure. Alcohol can cause memory loss and loss of self-control. Using what I have learned in DARE about alcohol will help me make good decisions. Another thing I learned about in DARE was peer pressure and what it can do to a person. Peer pressure can be good sometimes if someone is trying to get you to do the right thing. Bad peer pressure can be if a friend or classmate is doing drugs, smoking or drinking alcohol, and they offer you the cigarette, alcohol, or drugs. I learned a lot about peer pressure, and I will use what I have learned to make good decisions. I've learned a lot in DARE that will help me make good choices in the future. I will not do drugs or drink alcohol, and I will help people who are dealing with peer pressure. I am very thankful I had the opportunity to learn these skills that will help me in the future.
Okay, so we come to the important part of the program. Chief, do you want to take care of that now? My essay winners, would you come forward, please? Chief Winter has something for you.
Congratulations, you guys. Our department has a challenge coin that we also use in our school district. One each one you guys have.
Congratulations once again, kids. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chief. All right, so we're ready to get some diplomas, some other stuff, go have some cookies. We all in agreement, cookies? Cookies, I'm fine with cookies. Okay, so Ms. Long, will you be able to take care of this? Chief, Tori, can I have you guys come up here for me, please? Chief, Lieutenant? What we'll do is you're gonna check your work. Come around this way. Come around this way. Yeah, let's just do that all. We'll get this all worked out, I promise.
All right, our first graduate is Braxton Alpers. All right, Braxton Alpers, when he grows up, he wants to be a basketball player or a football player. And one thing he learned in DARE was there are several different kinds of bullying. Reagan Bonner. When she grows up, she wants to be a farmer. One thing she learned in DARE was about bullying and how many people get bullied and don't want to come to school. Kelvin Bunker. When Kelvin grows up, he wants to become a professional bull rider. One thing he learned in there was not to do drugs and alcohol, so you do not go to jail.
Hang on this long, I think Kelvin's diploma went with that, right?
Uh-oh.
There's a diploma on the back of the
Oh, maybe look at that.
Kelvin, I promise I didn't forget you. Good job, good. I can see that.
All right, Lily Clark. When Lily grows up, she wants to become a vet. One thing she learned in DARE was the importance of not doing drugs. If you do drugs, it can harm your insides, can kill you, and that is why she will never do drugs. Frances Stuntz. When Frances grows up, she wants to be an artist. One thing Frances learned in DARE is the effect of drinking alcohol. One effect is memory loss. Avery Fisher. One thing she learned in DARE was about bullying and how it can affect someone. Rafael Gonzalez. When Rafael grows up, he wants to be a musician. One thing he learned in DARE was about how alcohol affects the body by weakening the heart muscle. Jennifer Gracia. When Jennifer grows up, she wants to be a veterinarian and an artist. One thing she learned in DARE was about alcohol and how it can make you have memory loss and cause you to make bad decisions. Juan Ibarra. When Juan grows up, he wants to become a professional team roper. One thing he learned in DARE was how drugs and alcohol can affect your body. Gracie Long. When Gracie grows up, she wants to be an actress or a professional basketball player. One thing she learned in DARE was about tobacco and its effects. Tobacco can give you cancer and reduces the amount of blood flow that flows to and from the brain and body. Julio Lozano. When Julio grows up, he wants to become a policeman. One thing he learned in DARE was about alcohol. Did you know that there is 88,000 alcohol-related deaths each year? Cora Martin. When Cora grows up, she wants to be an artist. One thing she learned in DARE was how peer pressure can affect your social life. Tanner Merherder. Tanner Merherder wants to become an undercover cop when he grows up. One thing he learned in DARE was how to resolve violence in dangerous situations. Mia Meyer. When Mia grows up, she wants to become a vet. One thing she learned in DARE was how alcohol can damage every organ in your body. Gabriella Newman. When Gabriella grows up, she wants to become an animal rescuer. One thing she learned in DARE was how alcohol has bad effects on your body. Weston Peterson. When Weston grows up, he wants to become an agricultural lawyer. One thing he learned in DARE is that smoking is the leading preventable cause of deaths in America. Daniel Coutillo. When Daniel grows up, he wants to become a football player. One thing he learned in DARE was stress and different ways to relieve it, like counting to 10. Jasleen Ramirez. When Jasleen grows up, she wants to become a designer, an artist, or a teacher. One thing she learned in DARE was that tobacco and alcohol are really bad for you and not to use them. Yenica Ramirez. When Yenica grows up, she wants to become a lawyer. One thing she learned in DARE was about bullying and the different kinds of bullying it has and its effects on people. Jace Reyes. When Jace grows up, he wants to be in the Army. One thing he learned in DARE was that drugs are harmful and you can get really high on them. Carly Rockenbach. When Carly grows up, she wants to be an animal trainer. One thing she learned in DARE was not to smoke cigarettes because they can affect your heart, which can affect the amount of blood flow into your body. Malin Sanders. When Malin grows up, she wants to be a graphic or interior designer. One thing she learned in DARE was alcohol and the problems it can cause, like sudden heart failure. Jace Taylor. When Jace Taylor grows up, he wants to be a pro basketball player. One thing I learned in DARE was that smoking can cause colds and upper respiratory problems. Timothy Rogers. When Timothy he wants to be a police officer. One thing he learned in DARE was the 5 W's to report bullying. Who, what, where, when, and why. And J.C. Willinger Jasper. And J.C. grows up, he wants to be a carpenter. One thing he learned in DARE was the signs of stress and how it works and what your body feels like.
Not another round of applause for our graduates. I got one other thing to do here. Ms. Webb, could I have you come forward? Mr. Meyer, could I have you come forward, please? And Ms. Long, since you're already here. Come on out. On behalf of myself, Mr. Sheriff, thank you very much for it was not possible without you. You guys have put up with my crazy flying in, flying out, taking calls, and you try to get somebody to cover for you, it just don't work. But I appreciate it very much. And Sheriff cannot be here today, so just his best wishes to the graduate. Thank you very much. Smartest people. Thank you very much. Well, anything else am I forgetting? What? I'm sorry, what? Cookies. Oh, cookies. It's time to do that. Thank you all for attending. Okay. I appreciate it. Mr. Myers got a few words. Thank you very much.
We're very proud of you students for making this commitment to good choices in your lives. Thanks again to Tom Fisher for running our DARE program, and thank you to Chief Winter for being here as our guest today to present to our kids. There are refreshments in the old gym at this time, and a funny thing, Chief mentioned the old gym, our new gym was built in 1963. That's the new gym, so it's still pretty old. But we'll be in the old gym for refreshments here following the ceremony. So thank you for being here today.